3 things you absolutely want to look for before you accept a job. They will make or break your experience. Hey, my name is Natalie Janine. I help employed corporate women land better paying jobs. So make sure you subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more about career content. Also, I want to be here with you and for you. So subscribe so we can build community, girl. Now, this will make or break your professional experience. Something I learned early on was to make sure you check the supplies cabinet. I learned that as a student at American University. Thank you, Dr. Hector, for putting me on. Now, the reason you want to check the supplies cabinet is to know if it's organized or not. Now, I've heard that advice before, and sometimes I didn't take it. Baby, those were the jobs I should have ran past. Baby, I remember accepting this job, and the supplies cabinet had never been cleaned. I literally asked, can I see? And they're like, oh yeah, it has been organized. We're working through it. I looked and I was like, whoa, it's a hot mess. Got the job. The job was a hot mess. Girl, by month 6, I was looking for somewhere else to be. That's how much of a hot mess it was. And I could go back and say, oh, I wish I would have taken that advice. However, your girl was jobless looking for a job, okay? I took that job. Now, there have been times that I've checked the office supplies and it's been super organized. Like, people who love organized spaces would love to be in this office cabinet every day, all day. And when I asked to check on my tour, they were all shocked, like, why are you asking that? Somebody even asked, I said, oh, I want to know what supplies I need to start my first day because I want to make sure I'm prepared. Girl, I ain't thinking about the first day or whether I'm prepared or not. I want to know if this job is life-giving. Like, do y'all have order? Are we taking care of our place? Like, do we make sure people have the resources they need? You could tell that by how organized the cabinet is. So when they showed me, I was impeccable. I was like, ooh, cool. Things were labeled. Things were in their spot. I remember there was a pin out of place and they're like, ooh, somebody did not put this back correctly. And they were like, having a little attitude about it. I said, oh, this job is for me. We love order. And what we know is that most people work really well in order. Like, we need organization in order to show up and do our jobs well. Like, that's research. So to see this office have their supplies in their spot and is very organized, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this job. Do you know how life-giving this job was? Whenever I needed something, all I had to do was go to our office staff and say I needed this, and they order it. I never had to be like, oh, let me talk to the boss. It's this and that. We only get these kind of pens. It was whatever you need in order to do your job well, please let me know. They never told me no. I remember I wanted a stand-up desk and the ergonomics team already came and I got hired afterwards. And I was like, oh, I guess I could just wait until we have another big order. And they were like, well, we're not having a lot of new hires right now. So let's just get you one because your well-being is important to us. Baby, I was like, yes, you treated me well. I would love to give you 40 hours of my life, right? So you want to make sure the office supplies are organized. Again, a little tiny break. I want to make sure that you know to follow me if you want more career content and learning how to land a better paying job. Okay, girl? Because I got so much planned for you. And baby, it's only up from here. More money, cha-ching, cha-ching, okay? The second thing you want to pay attention to is how they celebrate each other. I didn't know this was important until I worked in a place and they celebrated each other all the time. Like, celebrated birthdays, work anniversaries, celebrated personal anniversaries, celebrated people doing great work, celebrated people receiving compliments from the public. Like, everything was a celebration in this office. Not overkill, but we did celebrate each other a lot. Even if it was like a staff meeting, we were like, hey, we heard this and that about you. Great job. We appreciate the work you're doing. Or we showed appreciation for each other in our office. Like, we celebrated each other all the time. And we had staff lunches. And one thing I loved about this office is how we showed up for each other. And it's so important that we celebrate one another. And it doesn't cost a lot. Like, put put it in your budget, businesses, employers, and celebrate your team. Because when you feel valued and appreciated, guess how much harder you're going to naturally go, because you know how much people care about your work. And when I had a supervisor or worked in an office culture where they celebrated each other, we loved coming to work. Like, we enjoyed each other, and we spent more time at work because it was a healthy environment. So you want to know, how do they celebrate each other? It's so important. Have that information before you sign the offer letter. You want to know, are they going to value your work and then celebrate you in a way that speaks to you? Now, everybody doesn't want to spend their lunch together, right? Some people need a break. Some people are like, I need this hour to myself to get breathe a little bit, right? Sit down a little bit. That might be you. You might be words of affirmation. You may be gifts. You may be something. Whatever that is, you want to know, do they celebrate each other and how they celebrate each other? I will probably never forget this supervisor I had, who was a really great coach as a manager. And one thing he asked the whole team was, how do you enjoy being celebrated? And a lot of people didn't know, because that's not the norm for companies just to be celebrating you, right? And my thing is, tell me words of affirmation. You could tell me, you give me a gift, but just telling me like, hey, I appreciate that you did this, or this has really helped us in this way, is good enough for me. Because, when my review come, baby, it's cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And so I already have a long list of all the things I've been doing great this year, where I've improved. So when we get into this annual review, baby, you celebrate me with some coins on that check. And when I say coins, I mean dollars. I mean thousands, okay? I am not doing an annual review and only getting that 3 to 5%. No, everybody getting that. No, we need to talk about 10 to 14, 20%, okay? So you want to make sure that you will be celebrated, that they're already doing that. So make sure you have that information before you sign the offer letter. The third thing you want to know is, how do they work together under pressure? Girl, what? Like, that's so important, because if it's not a cohesive team and you're on a deadline, people might not come to help you. And that is stressful. And who wants to work in an environment like that? Like, we're all a team, right? We're all working for the same goal. So why are we not here helping one another? Like, why am I expected to stay later while everybody going home to finish a project? Like, that is not okay. And so you want to make sure that the job you are saying yes to, they work together. When something's not working, all of their heads are coming together to figure out a solution and how we're going to complete this task, right? And I have worked on a team that was not a team at all. And the only time we got together was to put out emergencies. That in itself is stressful. Cortisol levels are high. It's not a fun environment. Who wants to put out fires and that's the only time we come together? No, we need to be working together. We need to be a team, a well-oiled machine, that where one part is not working, we step in to help that one part so that everything is working well, right? So you make sure you know these 3 things before you ever sign a job offer. And really, you can know the first one about the clean cabinets or not, where the supplies are, and that can dictate if you take a job or not. Because let me tell you, if the supplies cabinet is nasty, baby, they halfway celebrating each other if they are, and they're not working together well, period. If the supplies cabinet is nice, they're definitely doing something in the office that make people want to be there. It just says a lot about how the supervisor is moving within the culture. And one thing about me, I want to work in a place where the office culture is good. It keeps me coming back Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, or whatever the hours are. It makes me excited for my work. I'm excited to see my colleagues. Like, my last job was really good for the most part. And we really got along. Like, I spent my breaks walking with my team. Like, we did a lap around our building, like every day almost, unless it was raining. But if it was sprinkling, we were all out there. We were like, hey, break time, y'all ready to go walk? We would change our shoes, take 2 laps, and then go back to our desk and work. My lunch break, not as much, because I'm an introvert and I do need some alone time to recharge. But that was so, so good. And I asked these questions before I signed the dotted line to make sure this was a place I wanted to be. So I'm asking you to do the same thing. Girl, do not accept a job if you know that office cabinet is messy. Do not accept a job if they are like, oh, we don't really celebrate each other. Now, if they're like, oh, we don't, but we're willing to, do you, boo. Maybe you take it, maybe you don't. If they don't really work together, and you can ask, like, when's the last time you all worked together? Or when there's an emergency on the team, how do you all have a solution to that? What does that look like? Ask them something to understand, girl, before you accept the job. Don't be out here taking jobs and you see it ain't doing what it's supposed to do and you looking for a new job in 6 months. That's been me one too many times. Not anymore. Again, my name is Natalie Janine. I help employed corporate women land better paying jobs. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll see you again in a few days, girl.